Welcome to Join the Watch, a Game of Thrones podcast by the Straits Times. I'm your host, Jonathan Roberts, and be warned, if you have not yet watched episode 1 of season 8, turn back now. We're going in spoiler heavy. For this episode, I am joined by various emissaries from the Straits Times. They may not come from Westeros or Essos, but they may have passed by Eunos. I'm joined by Melissa Heng, Hairianto, Olivia Ho, Jan Lee, and s8e1. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Now, it was an episode of reunions. We had Jon and Arya, Sansa and Tyrion, Theon and Yara, Bronn and the Women of the Night, and Sam and Jon, just to name a few. So, guys, what did you think of the episode? Melissa?
It was a great first episode, right? Like, just the first 20 minutes of the reunions and the writing, it was really, really fantastic. Just every short scene that you had, each character, I think we got how far they've come, who they are now, their character development, and then through the interactions in each like short scene, right, it just set things up so nicely.
Hairianto?
I was okay at first, actually. I was expecting a bit more, maybe because I've been waiting for so long for this episode.
You were underwhelmed?
Yeah, I was a bit underwhelmed, to be honest. I expected more, but then again, I suppose it's just, setting up for what's to come. I love the reunions for the Starks. I thought that was very heartwarming.
It touched you there?
It did.
Wow. Beautiful. Olivia?
I'm actually quite glad that they kept it low-key for the first episode. One reunion I did not know that I needed to see but did really enjoy was Sansa and Tyrion.
Sansa is effectively third most powerful? Would you say?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Jan?
I really liked it. I thought it was very much like placing the pieces on the chessboard, just positioning them for whatever they need to do in the finale. And they got a lot of things out of the way really, really quickly. Like, people wanted to see Jon and Arya get reunited. We saw that. Yeah. People wanted to see Jon know about his parents. We saw that. It was very, very quick. Like, these are things that we need to do so the story can move forward.
And s8e.
I think I saw it as almost an extended trailer.
Wow.
And extended trailer / recap. So in the sense that we did cover a lot of things. Everyone was brought back in. Okay, this is where everyone is. But I feel it's a bit light on the content. But I guess it's good in the sense that we waited so long.
Yep.
And they're going to make us wait a bit longer.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to make the rest of the series
But we
worth
only
it.
have 5 more episodes left.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like this for next couple at least.
Wow, you sound borderline disappointed, if not fully disappointed.
I wouldn't say fully disappointed. I understand where they're coming from. They want to milk it for all it's worth. So, yeah.
Well, there were lots of reunions. The reunions that mattered. Jon got reunited with Arya. Melissa, how did it fill you with the feels?
It did, and I think it was, again, a very nice, very well-written scene. There was Arya running into his arms and him giving her that big brother hug, and that was like, yeah, that's so nice. So it starts out happy. After they show each other their weapons and whatnot, they actually talk about what's happening, and I think Jon starts out saying, like, thinking that Arya is going to be totally on his side, saying, what's up with Sansa, but then Arya comes back and says, like, no, I think she's the smartest person that I know. And I think that shocked him a little.
I did find that Jon did have a pang of disappointment when Arya said that she's used needle, sword, once or twice.
Once or twice.
Yeah, once or twice, which is an understatement. That pang of disappointment that, she's become a killer like everybody else. She's got blood on her hands now. Hairianto?
I think among the 3 Stark meetups with Bran, with Sansa, with Arya, I enjoyed the one with Arya the most. Right from the beginning, when the part where Arya sees Jon, riding in, and I thought that was nice, right? Like, finally, after 7 seasons, they finally met each other. But at the same time, also, we cannot deny the fact that she was also giving like a side eye, also because he came in with Daenerys. So she's probably like, oh, who's this, person? Do we need to be wary? And yes, I do see it as well, like what Mel said with regard to, she's still like, are you sure you're on the right side? Because when they hug, I think that was the part where Arya said, we're also family or something, or don't forget that. Again, reiterating the fact that, hey, family comes first, and it's always been for the Starks.
I think there's the same thing that happened with Sansa as well, when she asked him, why did you bend the knee? And I think there's some tension, especially the three of them. I think the last 2 seasons has been about building them to become together. And then now, it's politics, isn't it? They want to kind of sow those seeds of doubt between the three. I guess we never really questioned if that was going to be the case, but...
Well, Daenerys has been giving out some cold retorts.
Cold as.
Yeah. Jen, did you enjoy Daenerys is cold aside?
Add on a little bit to the Jon Arryn thing. I totally cried. Reunited, totally cried. No tissues, just like dabbing my eyes. It mirrored like their last meeting where she runs into his arms, and I like the fact that the camera held there for like a few seconds and like gave it a moment for you to understand how good it feels for them to be back together. Daenerys though. I really like the part where Sansa was like, what do dragons eat anyway? And Daenerys is like, whatever they want. And they're just like holding one another's eyes, and you just immediately like tension. It's just tension, and Jon is caught in the middle of all that, which is it's a great scene to illustrate what these 3 characters are feeling right at the moment. Daenerys is feeling very much like, I'm the queen, excuse me. And Sansa is like, who are you coming to my house? And then Jon is like, I like both of you.
I really felt for Jon in that moment. Is that kind of, can't you just get along? We've got so much other stuff to do, and now I've got to work out, but my girlfriend is warring with my family.
Girlfriend/aunt.
Yeah, girlfriend/auntie.
Please do not forget
yes.
that.
Yes.
Olivia, which particular reunion really did it for you?
I really enjoyed the Sansa and Tyrion reunion because they've come very far since they've last seen each other. And I think Tyrion now regards Sansa as a player. And I'm not sure if Tyrion is aware who killed Joffrey at the wedding. And I think it's entirely possible he still thinks it was Sansa and that she just left him. And so it's kind of like when you go to that, you go to a party and all your exes are there and you have all this beef with them, and then you're just trying to like, okay, awkward. But it wasn't awkward at all. It was very professional. It was very, it was almost like a business transaction between the two of them. And I think an alliance between the two of them would be quite interesting to see, because in a way they're both sort of second or third in command with their respective commanders.
Theon and Yara. Theon did the big daring do rescue of Yara to, well, I thought that was the time to get a cup of tea. The Greyjoys leave me very cold.
I love Yara Greyjoy. She's one of my favorite characters, but I do feel that the way that particular scene was written, it seems like they're going to usher her off to the side. The whole Greyjoy storyline will be there as a backup until, whenever Daenerys needs to retreat across the water. Then we won't see them for a while.
Which was heavily foreshadowed. And then the biggest reveal of all, Sam and Jon.
Yes.
Now, I didn't realize that Sam had got back to Winterfell. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
So did Jon, apparently.
It was Jon's butt scene. Yeah, I'm just saying.
But Sam revealed to Jon in a very haphazard way that Jon is in fact Aegon Targaryen, 6th of his name. Jan.
I think firstly, Jon will have to struggle with his own identity. I don't even think in that scene he has realized that he's been sleeping with his aunt. Like, I don't think he has realized, because he's just like, are you telling me my father, the most honorable man I know, lied to me? Like, he's just dealing with the fact that he's a Targaryen. What? Lyanna Stark, just confused. And he's like, in that, like right before that moment, he was paying his respects to Ned in the crib. So it was really nicely set up in that way. Also, I think s8e told us this just now. Sam doesn't know that Jon and Daenerys are getting it on, So he's coming in from a point of view, like, not so much like you're sleeping with your aunt and you shouldn't do that, but he's coming in with a point of view like, you are the true heir to the king. You are the true heir to the throne, She's second in line or something. You are the one, So he has to struggle with that. We don't know. I thought it was a very low-key scene. Like, it didn't feel as explosive as I thought it would feel. But I guess that's because it will become explosive in further episodes as more people find out.
Well, yeah, we've got to find out how Daenerys deals with the fact that she is not essentially the queen.
The queen. Yeah.
She's not. Yeah.
I think the thing about the explosiveness of the scene and how we expected the reaction to be, we are thinking of it as people watching the show, but we didn't really think about it how Jon would be. Jon doesn't care about the throne. He doesn't care about, you know, power. He doesn't care about politics.
He cares about North.
Which he said a few times.
And you know, and it just goes back to playing to the type that he is.
Right.
He's always thinking, you know, bigger. I won't say bigger, but just being better. So that's why the first thing that kind of hit him was like, "Hey, my father lied to me."
Arya had another big meeting today.
Gendry and the Hound.
That's three big meetings today, all with different types of emotions. So there's the heartwarming reunion with her brother with Jon.
Yeah.
And then she meets Gendry in the forge. And it's a bit of a hello.
You know.
Yeah.
How
I'm
you
shipping them
doing?
together.
Shipping them.
Shipping
so
them.
what would their shipping name? Gendry and Arya. Gary.
GenYa.
GenYa. GenYa. Sounds so medical.
ArRy.
Arya and Gendry. Do you think it's going to happen?
I mean, I don't think Arya's going to get together with anyone. Like, Arya's very, very damaged a person at this point. But clearly she has very good feelings towards Gendry, you know.
Right. But everyone else on the show alive now has some kind of damage. So I think it's nice that they're obviously friends.
Yeah.
There's obviously someone else now at least that Arya can talk with like a normal person and smile with.
She smiled.
And
Yeah,
snuggle
correct.
with. And cuddle
I don't
with.
know. So I think there's potential, but I just like that she has a friend.
I think if you must have a man, get you a man that can make you a weapon.
Right? Yes. Yes. And we don't know what the weapon is for. She never said.
Oh yes, it's some kind of two-part pole kind of thing that could...
Maybe it's like a nunchuck. Maybe she's been watching Bruce Lee or something.
Handyman.
Could
She
be,
got
yeah.
herself a handyman.
Yeah.
And then of course, Arya met with her old mentor, nemesis, protector,
Formerly, he was on her hit list. Yeah.
the Hound.
Yes.
And for a moment, I genuinely thought we were going to get a hug from the Hound.
Nah.
Didn't turn out to be. We got as good as we could get, which is...
Can we say it? On
No,
we
not
are-
that line. The one after.
That's
Yeah.
why I guess that's why you're still alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
You're
the line
a
without the
cool little-
profanity.
Yeah. Without the profanity. Without the profanity.
Yeah.
Now, while she seemed kind of in the background for this episode, we need to talk about Daenerys. Melissa, Daenerys, she's not got a great bedside manner.
No, I think she's at this point where she knows she's queen and she has totally accepted this position of power, but I feel that she could have played her cards a little bit differently. Jon has obviously told her already that the people of the North don't trust outsiders, and yet she comes in riding on a high horse, like
Literally.
literally, and like she chose her outfit, right? And I think that alone already said a lot. She chose to wear this all white jacket, and it totally sets her apart even more from the people.
And there were the lines with Sansa.
Correct.
And who else did she have? I mean, the way she dealt with Sam. Telling him, well, I killed your dad. By the way, don't be running home to your brothers just yet.
Or could it be that she just wants to exert power? Because all this while, she's been trying to conquer, and usually when she comes on the first time being all nice and all that, she's never quite successful. So this time around, she's like, heck it, I'm gonna go in and show who's queen.
This is a very Targaryen thing, though. I mean, if to bring it back to the books, that was how the Targaryens conquered Westeros to begin with. They came in like full force, 3 dragons. Then and that's how they took over everyone. And then they continued to behave in this fashion by not taking into consideration other people's feelings. So other people were like, "Why are you, incesting your way through the?" And then they were like, "No, we shall continue to parade in the streets our incestuous marriages." And that is how the Targaryens eventually came to lose.
And whilst we've been rooting for Daenerys as an underdog who comes to the top, everything that she's achieved has been through overwhelming people.
Yes.
She's never had to negotiate deals. She's either freed slaves or killed slavers. Everything has been a big sweeping movement. She's never had to really cajole people onto her side.
And the people that she has conquered before, right? The reason that they love her is because she freed them, right? But she's not coming into the North now. She's not freeing them. They're not slaves, right? So this is a different circumstance, different kind of people that she's dealing with.
So, like, as you said, like the freeing and the conquering, the arc with Daenerys and the language that she has used has differed quite a bit as she's grown in 7 seasons. So at first she was all about freeing the slaves, freeing the people, and now she's very much about conquering. Now she has no qualms about using a dragon to blast armies. Like, she has no qualms about that. She has evolved to become quite
The Targaryen that she's supposed to be.
quite a Targaryen, you know, instead of, even though she keeps talking about how she's not and how she will be a kind of queen that her father was and everything, but there is that little bit of
There's a mad queen growing there.
There is a seed there, you know, that she can be very ruthless and she can be extremely you know, unlikable in that sense, and also that she's very entitled. She's a very entitled person.
Which is,
She, once Viserys died, she was like, I am the dragon. Dragons cannot be burned by fire. Like, she became this whole, I am the Khaleesi, I lead the Dothraki, just the amount of things she has attached to her name, the Mother of Dragons, unborn, blah, 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 blah,
she
blah.
has all this to go with that whole
Her name
status
card
thing.
must be huge.
She believes that she deserves all of this, and that is not well looked upon in Winterfell, which is hard won and has been guarded by the Starks for over 1,000 years.
Maybe that's why I don't like Daenerys. This whole entire.
You don't like anyone.
No,
You don't
I
like Jon Snow.
no,
You don't like Daenerys.
I like Arya and Gendry.
I like
I'm shipping
Sansa.
for them.
I think
Sansa,
that's-
I like Sansa.
It will end in
Go
tears.
Safi.
It will end into.
Safi wants
I
to say
think that's
something.
going to be the kind of end of our arc. So she started out with nothing, now she here. I shouldn't have put it that song. But yeah, she started out with nothing and she kind of gained all this power. And I think the whole kind of moral of her story is going to be absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it's going to be. I think she's going to reach too far.
So when she finds out that she is not actually the one who's going to be queen, that
and
Jon
it
Snow's
kind of
above her.
works with your entitled kind of
Right.
that,
And her,
that
like,
thing as well. Like
the more of a dark
she
side.
has grown up, or she has grown through the seasons with this kind of thing in her head that this is what I deserve. This is
I'm so amazing. I
Yeah.
did all
Yeah,
this.
my
Yeah.
dragons
this is
are amazing.
where, you know, my name is written on that throne, and then she has been convinced herself, and I assume like people around her have done the same for her too.
And it puts her in contrast to Jon. Remember that scene last season where she first met Jon, and like Miss Sunday is just giving all these titles, Mother of Dragons, blah 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 blah, blah, you know, and then Davos comes in and this is Jon Snow, King in the North. It's just that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a big contrast between the two characters.
And I think that might probably get a bit more screen time in the way the two of them make decisions.
Yeah.
And I guess it once again goes back to politics, and
So does it really mean that Jon Snow is going to sacrifice himself so that Queen Daenerys will be queen?
I think it could go two ways. Either the absolute power corrupts absolutely, or she learns a lesson and then she decides to sacrifice herself for Jon.
Oh.
Well, if we've called that right, get the 4D numbers from us next time. Before we move on to our worst bits, I'll just say now, there is a contest where you can win Game of Thrones swag. Just go to the Straits Times YouTube channel, find this video if you're not already watching it, and answer the question below. It'll be based on something that you've heard in here. And then you can win Game of Thrones swag. Courtesy of HBO Asia. Now, it was a good episode overall. We reckon it was fairly good, yeah. But there are some bits that were not that good. Namely, it involves Jon and Daenerys.
Always, of course, right?
Always. There's such a love-hate thing going on there.
Oh, it's
Okay.
just a hit from me.
So, Jon got to ride a dragon, in which point, for me, the show turned into a Harry Potter outtake, where it flew around and they were having such joy, floating off together, playing the dragons.
It's a whole new world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Disney. Did anybody else hate the dragons, or did somebody like the dragons?
I love the dragons.
All of the dragons?
I particularly like the parts of their necks that have frills on them, and like I thought that scene got to show off a lot of how far they've come since season 1 in terms of CGI and technology, because the dragons are so beautifully realized.
Oh no, it is.
Maybe the people on them less interesting, but the dragons themselves are great.
Okay, when the dragons first appear at Winterfell, I think it was very impressive.
Yes, it was.
You got that sense of awe and in fear of people seeing a dragon, and a dragon that size
And
for
even
the first
Arya
time.
was like,
Yeah,
you know, for a moment, she
was like,
she
"I
doesn't get
want
scared
one of
easily.
yeah.
She was like, I want one.
But then they set the dragons down, and it turns to flirting with dragons. Now,
That was the
okay,
more
who
cringy
found it
part.
most sickening?
I have zero problems with dragon. My problem is with you flirting on dragons while there's an undead king trying to like take over the world, flirting on dragons, go to a waterfall and be like, this is not a place for southern girls.
You gotta keep me warm.
Keep your queen warm. And then it's like, oh, nope.
Really, the
that's just-
dialogue up to that point was so good. And then they start talking and flirting, and it just sounds so cringy. All of it sounds so cringy, you
Very
know?
fast, right?
Yeah.
Fan service, they just want to
Nobody
make a
is a
asked for
bit.
this.
Even then,
Yeah,
it's
not
very
shipping
clear
them.
that the writers, they can do intrigue, they can do tension, they can do violence, they can do swearing. They really can't do romance.
Yeah,
it's
romance is
bad.
not for
It's,
them.
yeah.
The closest they have come to nailing romance is Brienne and Jamie. That's the
Yeah.
closest they have come to.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was
would,
a good. That tone was good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shipping
but this
them
one
as
is
well.
a bit like comedy, rom-com type. And then
Yeah.
the bit where they showed the dragon's face.
Yes.
Yes.
The bit with the
dragon
dragon's face.
watching him.
Yeah, and then it was like making like some kind of weird eye like that. Come on lah, we dragons don't do that.
Yeah. They're dragons, you know. Can you dignify them a little bit more?
It was a
than-
bit like the dragon from Shrek. That's what that reminded me of.
From Shrek.
What?
Wow. Okay, any other bits that particularly brought the episode down for you?
Any part with Euron is gross.
Yes,
I get it, I
Euron
get
got
it.
to get with Cersei. Cersei. He said, I'm going to put a prince in your belly.
And then I said, my belly doesn't feel too good now.
I think we all felt that.
Yeah.
But Euron, do you think he's going to be a big player in this thing?
They're building him up, and he says this during the show as well, or during the episode as well. I've done this, I've done this, I've done that, and I need something back. So I think that's going to play a big part in what Cersei does. And then the thing about the prince in the belly as well, as we know, she already has a prince in the belly.
Well,
A
does
prince?
she?
It's
She
open,
says
open.
she
Yeah,
does.
she says she does.
says
She
So,
yeah.
claims to have one. Yeah.
So that is gonna be definitely a political pawn as well.
Yeah.
So at any point she could turn around and say, yeah, this is your baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So she was gonna have these two baby daddies hanging about. What's she gonna do with them? What's she gonna
Gotta
make them
kill
do?
one of them.
Yeah, that was a big reveal as well.
The fact that she hired Braun to take
Oh,
down
yes,
her brothers.
yes,
Brothers,
of course,
yeah.
yes.
Brothers with a plural. Like,
Yeah.
so
Bronn comes back and he reminds you that, wow, it's been a while since we've had a sex scene in Game of Thrones.
yes.
It's quite jarring in a way because it has been a couple of seasons since we've had an outright sauciness. He is visited by Qyburn because Cersei won't do scenes with Bronn, apparently. He sets him on a mission, courtesy of Cersei, to kill not just one brother, which we figured it would be Tyrion,
Yeah.
but both brothers, Jaime and Tyrion.
I think from season 7, it's not so surprising that she now wants to kill Jaime as well. Because if you remember in season 7, Jaime helped Tyrion to meet Cersei, right? She set up a meeting between them. And after that, Cersei goes, if you betray me again, you're out, right? So she already set that up. And I think when he turned and said, you know, I'm gonna join them in this fight against the undead, she saw that as a betrayal, another betrayal. And she's like, yeah, I'm alone now, I'm gonna make it by myself.
This
They're
is a bit
dying.
of a hint towards the Mad Queen, though, isn't it? Because Tyrion mentions that Cersei has something to live for now.
Yeah.
Because he's under the impression that she's got a kid.
Yeah.
But if she doesn't, and she's willing to kill the brothers, and she seems to be on a bit of a death drive, especially after the Sept of Baelor, she could be just wants to watch the world burn.
Burn, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a good point as well because when Qyburn at the very first scene, in the very first scene when they introduce Cersei, Qyburn comes up to her and says, yeah, the wall's gone down, they're all coming, and she just says, good.
And with that also, we haven't seen any White Walkers for this episode except for the screaming.
Except for one,
which is
which
scary.
freaked everyone out.
Yeah.
a real throwback to the first episode
Yep.
of the first
Yeah.
season with that pattern.
Yeah, the
A
spiral
literal
shape.
coat of arms on the wall.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that was the one real jump out your skin moment.
Yeah.
The bit that everyone flinched at. Any other bits that caught your attention?
Bran creeping on everybody. Bran just
Well,
being left
more
outside
Bran
for the
being left
entire
outside, yes.
episode. It's just nobody bothered to keep the guy warm.
Everyone lined up for the big arrival, and then later on he meets Sam,
Yeah.
still in the
Yeah.
same position, and then at the very end, the old friend he's going to meet, Jaime Lannister,
Lannister, yeah.
and he's still outside.
I think they must have brought him soup at least.
Brought him soup.
He's the
I don't think he needs to eat
Does
anymore.
he
Actually,
eat?
That was
Yeah.
a good 2 days worth, right? He was they
Yeah, it
lined
was
him
all
up
the same
outside
day.
for the
Surely
big
all that
arrival.
happened the same day, no? Or
Well,
gave him an
say
umbrella
he
or something.
they arrived on Monday morning. They had a big lineup, and he's left there. Monday night,
He's still there.
Sam turns up, and he's still there.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday morning,
Okay, yeah,
Jamie turns
maybe.
up, and he's still outside,
Afternoon, night, everywhere, just staring at
just
everyone.
staring at everyone.
Yeah, but like again, you gotta realize that Bran isn't
Bran.
Bran
Bran, yeah.
anymore, right? Not just
Yeah.
Bran
Yeah.
anyway. Like even in season 7, he is already the three-eyed raven, and I think that again, then in this episode, when Jon meets up with him and Jon hugs him, and Jon realizes that wait, like who is this?
Yeah.
What is this? You
You're
know?
a man now or something. And
Yeah,
Well,
he
the
said-
very
almost,
cryptic,
Yeah.
"You're a man now," which is
Yeah,
Almost.
almost.
He said
Sorry,
almost.
yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
immediately goes, "The Night King is your dragon." Everybody's just like, "What?"
Yeah. So I think that also showed that he's not fully human anymore. Yeah.
And he possibly knows too much, and he may well just let bad things happen because he's seen so far into the future. He knows that bad things have to happen for other things to work out.
Yeah, for things to move along, yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, we shall leave it there. Do join us next time for another Join the Watch, where we'll have dissected, cogitated, and probably argued over episode 2. For now, Vala Mugulis.